Have you heard this word lately that's been bandied about? Oligarchs, autocrats, dictators, but mostly aristocrats. In other words, that supposedly a small cabal of very wealthy people have snatched control of the government, and the Democrats, as the loyal opposition of the fighting middle class, is trying to stop it. They use the word plutocrats. Oligarch, just from the Greek word, the rule by the few. Plutocrat means the rule by the wealthy. Aristocrat means rule by the so-called best, or those people who claim they're better born. But they're using all of these terms to castigate, apparently, the relationship between Elon Musk and Donald Trump.
Have you noticed? The same billionaires who once bankrolled the left are now being rebranded as villains, oligarchs, plutocrats, traitors to the cause. But ask yourself, why now? For decades, these tycoons were hailed as visionaries, patrons of progress, the brilliant minds funding the future. But the moment they break ranks, the story flips. Suddenly, the kings are tyrants. Suddenly, the elite are enemies. Is this about morality or control?
But here's what's ironic. We didn't hear any of this during the Obama years, during the Clinton years, or during the Biden years. In other words, for 20 years, no one mentioned that the country was controlled by oligarchs.
Let's have a look at the top 10 wealthiest people in the US.
Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett, Larry Page, Sergey Brin, Larry Ellison, Bill Gates, Mike Bloomberg. They all have one thing in common. They're all worth over $100 billion. And until recently, I would say the 2024 election, they were all against the Republican Party and were lavish donors for the Democrats. Why they're angry now is because Jeff Bezos' Washington Post, which was a vehicle, a money-losing but still influential vehicle for leftist and democratic agendas, decided not to endorse either Kamala Harris nor Donald Trump. Elon Musk, who voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016 when he was beloved by the left because of Tesla, because of SpaceX, because of Neuralink, because of Starlink, also, according to what he said, voted for Joe Biden in 2020. Mark Zuckerberg, remember, put $419 million in his various PACs to absorb the work of registrars to great effect in the 2020 election. Mike Bloomberg probably has the record. He used $1 billion to try to capture the 2020 Democratic primary nomination. $1 billion. Why are they so angry at the oligarchs when the oligarchs were synonymous with Democrats?
For over 2 decades, America's billionaires leaned left. Zuckerberg funneled nearly $500 million into elections. Bloomberg burned $1 billion chasing the Democratic nomination. Soros, he rewrote the rules of political funding, and no one called them plutocrats. But now, Elon Musk dares to dissent. Jeff Bezos stays neutral. And suddenly, it's a crisis. Victor Davis Hanson names what others ignore. This isn't about money, it's about control. If billionaires are a threat today, were they not a threat yesterday? This isn't a political shift, it's a fracture within the ruling class itself. Not a rebellion from below, but from the very titans the left once claimed as allies. Why? Because loyalty came with strings. Say the right things, fund the right causes, obey. Then came Trump, with no demands, just a promise. It's not cronyism, it's sovereignty, not populism, strategy. And to billionaires tired of being told how to think, that's more persuasive than any DNC pitch.
George Soros put in $125 million in the 2022 midterms. He has the all-time record. It's assumed that he has spent $22 billion for left-wing candidates and left-wing PACs and left-wing foundations. In the 2024 election cycle, the Biden campaign, the Harris campaign, and the Trump campaign together raised $4.7 billion. But guess what? The Democrats raised $1 billion more than did Trump. So what is going on? There is an anger now that for the first time in 20 years, over 3 administrations, Clinton, Obama, and Biden, for the first time, there are multi-billionaires who are starting to question their Democratic loyalty. Larry Ellison, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, perhaps even Jeff Bezos. Most billionaires are still on the side of the left, but they don't tolerate any apostates. So they're angry they don't have a lock on the oligarchs, so to speak. I'll just finish with one reflection. Why did they start to bolt? Because the Democratic Party was so sure of the support of billionaires, they started making demands upon them and saying, you're going to give this amount of money. And if you want to play ball with us, this is the monopoly that will control artificial intelligence. You are included, you're not. We're going to get the FBI to partner with you, Mark Zuckerberg, and Meta, Facebook, to make sure you ban information injurious to the Biden campaign. You, Twitter, the old Twitter, you're going to have FBI. And they revolted. And Donald Trump came along and said, I welcome all of you because I'm not going to tell you who to vote for or what to do, but I'm going to look at you in a nationalist, populist manner. You are the William Knuttsons, the Henry Fords, the Henry Kaisers of the War Production Board. In other words, I'm going to go to bat for you so that you do not have your wealth confiscated in China, so that people in Europe do not impose special taxes on you just because you're making too much money or try to censor your news. In other words, I'm going to try to enlist you on behalf of the country in a patriotic nationalist fashion. And they found that argument more persuasive than they did, you better give to us, and this is what you're going to do. And as a result, 30% of the billionaires bolted and are either now neutral or they favor the Republicans. The vast majority, to repeat, still favor Democrats. The Democratic Party is the party of the very wealthy, plutocracy, and the billionaire class, but they demand absolute loyalty and solidarity, and any defections or apostates then cause them to go, I don't know what the word is, ballistic, that anybody would doubt their ability to control the big money in the United States. Big money in the United States is a democratic phenomenon.
So when you hear the word oligarch tossed around in 2024, pause. Don't just ask who it's aimed at. Ask who's aiming it and why. Because the truth is, power doesn't hate wealth. It only hates independence. And maybe the real crisis for the ruling elite is not that billionaires have too much power, but that for the first time in decades, they're beginning to use it for themselves.